Straight from the practice field to the locker room. Some very interesting observations today at Texans practice. You'd have to be watching closely to see them, but they were there. Plus, some of the big names do some things as well. DeMeco Ryans talks about Dameon Pierce's biggest obstacle, and Jimmy Ward got to talk to him about if he's going to be able to tone it down when the Rams come to town. Let's go inside the locker room.
Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top two and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube.
It was a hot one. It was a hot practice. Some may think it was a little bit uneventful. I think there were some things that deserve attention. It is the locker room, number one source for Texans digital content. I'm Landry Locker with another practice report for you. Content throughout the week. We got the nightly stream at 10:30, and it's just the beginning of what we got going. Be sure to swarm the like button, subscribe, right along, all that type of stuff. Let's just get into the early observations at practice. No Will Anderson still no sign of Will Anderson, no Christian Harris. I'm trying not to get worried. The Christian Harris thing, I think, is a little bit more concerning. The Will Anderson, we'll see. I think at this point he's going to be held out. And then as we get closer to Indianapolis, if it's like a week and a half out or a week out and we're still not seeing him, then maybe that's something to be made. But no Will Anderson. No real panic there. We did have a couple of returns. Davis Mills, he returned, and Davis Mills looked freaking good. This might have been Davis Mills's maybe his best practice for the Houston Texans. Davis Mills. We had the trade rumors last week. A lot of speculation, probably irrationally, but hey, I ain't judging anyone for doing that. That's for damn sure. That'd be kind of hypocritical. But Davis Mills' return, he was really, really good. Couple of huge plays with two guys that a week ago we thought were trying to make the roster. One of them seems like he's safe. There was an observation involving John Metchie that I think you don't want to miss. And something else is happening with these running backs that I think perhaps deserves our attention. I'll tell you about that in a sec. Also had a return. Ben Skoranek, he returns. I'm calling my shot right now. Tomorrow at joint practices, I am predicting that Ben Skoranek gets in a little tussle. I actually made a bet with another guy in the media. He thinks Cam Akers gets in the tussle with his former teammates. I think it's going to be Ben Skoranek. He's a little bit more of a practice hero type of guy. So that's my called shot. So we will keep an eye on that practice report immediately after the joint practice tomorrow. So we got you covered on that as well. Let's start, though, with the one-on-ones. Everybody loves the one-on-ones. We're going to break down the one-on-ones. We're going to give the biggest observations as well. As far as the one-on-ones go, this was not CJ Stroud's best practice day. I'm not going to say it was awful, but I don't think it was something that he would really say was his best work. CJ Stroud, not great. Couple of misfires in one-on-ones. Started off with Stephon Diggs and Stingley, a little bit of a stall, and then a skipped rock tank. Then on an out from CJ, you had a John Metchie overthrow in which it looked like he was a little bit open. Xavier Hutchinson, he had a good day today. He made a play. And then you missed the back shoulder throw to Nico. There was a rep between Stephon Diggs and Derek Stingley in which it kind of looked like perhaps Diggs broke off the route on his own. He kind of stopped and then went long. He was wide open, but CJ had already thrown it where it looked like he was supposed to be. And then there were a lot of balls hitting the ground. This was the most in one-on-ones. This was the most that the ball hit the ground between CJ and the reserve quarterbacks. And I don't even know that there's really a close second. So the one-on-ones, usually pretty exciting, not as exciting today at all. As far as team one goes, Joe Mixon, he looked good. Joe Mixon has that burst. and he looked good. He actually met with the media. We'll revisit what Joe Mixon had to say tonight in the live stream. But Joe Mixon looks good. He's clearly RB1. He looks the part. And there were a couple of impressive plays from Joe Mixon. Davis Mills, though, and this is something to keep an eye on. This is something that perhaps the average fan doesn't care about, but I do think this is something worth acknowledging. You had British Brooks in the backfield with Dameon Pierce at one point. And this was the twos, but right on the edge of the twos. At one point, you had British Brooks on the right side, and you had Dameon Pierce on the left. Now, some people may say, well, who cares? They run dual back sets all the time. They do, but then something else happened, and it was just 2 reps, I believe, but it's not something that I've noticed before. British Brooks was lead blocking on a couple of plays. So you saw, I don't know if this is something they're looking at. I don't know if this is something they're working on. I don't know if this has to do with depth, but a lot of people were kind of intrigued by the performance British Brooks had in the preseason game. And then you see him out there. He's a little higher up on the depth chart. He's dual back, and he's also, you kind of see him at fullback. So the British Brooks thing is something to keep an eye on. I would keep a big eye on that. Don't know what it means. Maybe he gets some work. But yeah, British Brooks, something to keep an eye on for sure. And I did not notice that. There's another thing that stuck out, and we'll talk about that when we get to special teams. But team one, really a little bit light, not great. You had a penalty. There was a play where Tank Dell was open on a slant. It went off his hands and then off Sting's hands. Then Mills came in. That's when we got the Dameon Pierce, British Brooks dual set. Had an injury. We had Kendrick Green. He went down, kind of fell down, slammed his helmet like really hard, and then got up, limped off, and he was on the side. I don't think he returned. The way he reacted, it doesn't seem like it's good, but he's also an intense guy trying to make the squad. So even a little setback the day before joint practices is probably not good for Kendrick Green. So he goes down. We had another nice Cam Akers cutback run, which is kind of a theme. A CJ Henderson pass breakup of Tim Boyle. So I guess half a pass breakup. We don't give full credit for Tim Boyle PBUs. Then you had CJ Stroud. He found Lassiter, Kamari Lassiter, who, by the way, look, this is how Kamari Lassiter comes out. Just look at this intensity right here. Just look how this guy walks out. Black shoes, no gloves, no nothing. No gimmicks. Look at this guy. Hit the Goldberg music. Dun, 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 dun. He had the interception. He's just about that business. So Kamari Lassiter with the interception was an easy one, but right place, right time. I do wonder if this no gloves, black shoes thing is going to kind of be his bid. I could easily see that being a thing. So you had the Lassiter INT. Then we had a nice mix and run, nice little misdirection to Dameon Pierce that kind of got everyone looking one way, threw it back to him. He had a lot of open field. Whether or not that's a good thing, who knows? Then you had a toss to Pierce. Looked like it probably would have been a nice gain. Nice little chunk, 5 or 6 yards. And then Davis Mills came in. Dare with the run. You had the dump off to Harrison. Akers up the middle. And then it looked like Eric Murray got a little nicked up. He was just kind of getting worked on the side. But he returned. And he actually had a really nice did a nice job in coverage on an attempted long ball to Stephon Diggs. So there's that. That's team one. So the biggest takeaways from team one, British Brooks, the fullback, British Brooks getting moved up the depth chart. Don't know. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to make the team, but they're definitely getting another look at him. I haven't noticed him lead blocking very much at all. Then we go to team two. And as I was watching team two, I wondered if there's a guy that is in serious jeopardy of making the team. I'll tell you who that is in about 15 minutes. But there is someone that if you ask me to make a bet, I don't know that this guy makes the team, and I don't know that this guy is in their plans, and maybe it shouldn't surprise us as much as it may. Team 2 breakdown. A nice reverse, really nice reverse. Bobby Sloat, we know he likes to run them. Joe Mixon to Nico Collins. This one looks like it could have gone for at least 20, especially with the way Nico runs the rock. So you had that. Diggs, an awkward dump off. I think it probably would have been a sack because no one was really around. But CJ dumped it off to Diggs. No one was really around him. Then we had Davis Mills coming in a little too hot off the hands of Robert Woods. Then you had Hutch up the middle. Looked like it probably would have been a flag in a game. They let it play. They let it play out. And then the final play of this period, Case Keenum, Dalton Schultz wide open, just kind of a wheel route, the right sideline. Case Keenum, incomplete. Sailed it over his head. So not too lovely. Then we got to team 3. Team 3, you had a Tank Dell 5-yard out. There was a lot of emotion. Matt Burke was arguing the call, ended up getting his way. They called him out of bounds. Then you had kind of a scary-ish moment. Khalil Davis, whoever the hell was blocking Khalil Davis, I would recommend doing better next time because he just completely blows up a run to Mixon. Stops himself, but almost like goes on his back, and it's like 300 pounds on his back. Mixon was fine, but whoever was blocking Khalil Davis, yeah, let's figure that out. Or maybe he just kind of knew the play. I don't know. Then 3rd and 9, Stephon Diggs wide ass open across the middle of the field. It almost felt like the defense didn't even know they were supposed to be doing anything. Then you had Tank deep across the middle again. Texans work in the middle of that field. Then you had a throwaway, a run for nothing. And then on 3rd and 10, they threw the slant, and Davis Mills and company came back on. And that's where Davis Mills began to have his best day. This was during Team 3. During Team 3, Davis Mills, we've talked about John Metchie. John Metchie with a 50-yard touchdown from Davis Mills. Metchie got behind C.J. Henderson to score the touchdown. Then you had just a really, really pretty run by Cam Akers. Just so smooth. It was one of those slow developing ones where you can tell he's just waiting perfectly for his blockers to get in front of him. He's making cuts. It just looks really smooth. It almost looks like he's ice skating sometimes when he runs. And Cam Akers with the smooth run. Then you had another touchdown, another 50-yard bomb from Davis Mills. This time, Xavier Hutchinson, who isn't going away quietly. You had 2 50-yard touchdowns for Davis Mills in team period 3, 1 to Metch and 1 to Hutchinson. I don't know what they're going to do with Hutchinson. I don't know how this is gonna play out. We haven't seen Noah Brown in a while. Could they look at Hutchinson and say, we got 3 years of development left on this guy. We love what Noah Brown has done, but this guy can be Noah Brown eventually. This guy can be Noah Brown this year, next year, maybe the year after. Oh, by the way, he's very, very cheap. He's on a rookie contract, and he can give you some special teams. And we haven't had a chance to see durability be an issue with him. I do wonder. It's kind of assumed that Brown would be number 4. I'm not opposed to it. Is he going to be available, though? Is Hutchinson not going to make this team? Because I don't know that he's a guy that doesn't get picked up elsewhere. I think he's got a lot of talent, a lot of ability. So who knows? But he's looked really, really good, and he's at least made them think about it. I think Metchie's good. Metchie's safe. And there's another thing that I saw that makes me think Metchie is safe that I'll tell you about. But I think Xavier Hutchinson is going to be a real interesting decision. Team period 3 caps off 2 incomplete passes from Stroud. A deep throw to Diggs in which Eric Murray had returned, and he was running stride for side. And then we saw British Brooks at fullback. So lead blocking, not just back there as a dual running back. We saw British Brooks at fullback. Make of that whatever you would like. But that was definitely a thing. And then team 4 was nothing. Team 4 was basically, it almost seemed like they were just putting the reserves out there to kind of get the hell out of this heat. Let's hear from DeMeco Ryans. This was DeMeco Ryans. We'll get into the best plays, worst plays, and key observations about some polarizing players. But first, let's hear from DeMeco Ryans. Seth Payne asked the question. Seth Payne of Sports Radio 610. Here's DeMeco Ryans talking about Dameon Pierce.
What's Damien's biggest obstacle right now?
Yeah, Damien, we got to get him some ops in the game, to get him some more ops running the football. But Damien's done a great job out here at practice. I don't think everybody's seen that in the game because, when he had his opportunities, we got guys unblocked in the hole, so he doesn't have a chance to really get started. So, we just have to give him more opportunities, but we have to block it better up front so he does have opportunities to make some plays in the running.
All right, there you go. So he's talking about the blocking. A lot of people have talked about it. We'll see. I don't think he's going to come out and call out Dameon Pierce at this point. They might be trying to trade him. Who knows? The vision's obviously not where it should be, and they acknowledged that last year. But interesting to hear DeMeco mention the blocking. We'll hear from Jimmy Ward in a sec. But there are a couple observations that I think matter. The British Brooks thing. That's kind of a little bit in the sticks when we're talking about British Brooks. I just think it's interesting that they had him at fullback. But there were two things that I thought were interesting. And I think this could be big when it comes to if you're trying to guess or forecast the 53-man roster, or you're trying to figure out who the hell the Texans are going to keep and cut. There's a couple of things that I think deserve attention. Number one, where does Desmond King fit into what they do? Because you look out there on defense, you don't see him a ton. Maybe the Jalen Petrie thing kind of impacts Des King, but when you look out there, you don't see him a ton. You see a lot of these other corners getting work. And I don't know whether it's the guys that they have right now. I don't know if it's guys that might not be on other teams or what, but I think the Des King thing, is something to keep an eye on because they cut him last year and now, and I'll get to y'all's questions after. We'll kind of scroll through as long as they're topical. So have no fear. We will get to those. And I appreciate y'all for coming through. Appreciate all the love. Be sure to subscribe, swarm that like button. You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
But yeah, I don't know if Des King fits into what they're trying to do. I really don't know. I thought he did. Thought he did last year. Let's keep an eye on Des King and see where that thing goes. Next thing, and this is interesting because I was asking a couple of guys that were watching around me if this was the norm. Now, we know what John Metchie did last week, and I think I'm prepared to say, I think a lot of people are prepared to say that despite previous conversations about whether or not John Metchie was going to make this team, it kind of feels like John Metchie's going to make this team. He was doing something today more than he has since I've been watching him practice. You guys want to guess what that was? What was John Metchie doing more of today than he has done all training camp? The answer? Special teams. John Metchie was playing a lot more special teams on both sides. Coverage and blocking. And I don't know what to make of this, but it seems like they might be kind of expanding the possibilities of John Metchie finding his way on the field or adding value to the team because he was out there. He was out there. It might have been where Noah Brown would typically be, if I'm not mistaken. I've seen Noah line up a little bit. A lot of times Noah's punt, so I don't know. But John Metchie's out there playing special teams, which is probably something he's going to do. I doubt he loves it. I bet he's not thrilled about it, but this was the most that I've noticed, and I watch practice pretty closely. This was the most that I've noticed John Metchie on special teams. Do with that what you will. But it was an observation. He was out there pretty much the whole time on first team special teams. I mean, to the point where even when Frank Ross, and it wasn't like he was one of the fillers, like even when Frank Ross was holding up the board, which a lot of times is with the scout team, he was out there. So who knows? John Metchie getting his work in on that special teams. Couple of comments. Appreciate everyone for coming through. To Rhino, yes, please follow and like. I got you on the Texans info. Ain't no doubt about that. Shout out to Sosa. Shout out to all y'all. Bryce, thanks for coming through. Make it a normal thing. 10:30 p.m. stream. Practice reports as well. In and Out says Trees is being shot before the season starts. Don't know, man. For what? What is someone trading for Robert Woods? That would be my question. Like, what's the product? What are you getting for Robert Woods at this point? That would be my question. Kendrick Green. Did I say Kenya? I'm pretty sure I said Kendrick. Kendrick Green. Yeah, there you go, Jacob. Thank you. He was hurt. Yeah, the Hutch thing is interesting. Got to check that out. Is Andrew Beck going to make the team? There's talk that he might start on IR. That's just kind of whispers. That's what people are saying. I don't know whether that's going to happen or not, but there's kind of whispers about that. No, John Metchie's not going to return, but he was out there doing his thing for sure. Will Anderson was not practicing. He was out. Who was our fastest player? I don't know. That's a good question because I don't know who is the fastest player. Good question. Don't know. I don't know if there's like a ton of speed on this squad, so who knows? No idea. Kamari Lassiter with the interception. The play of practice, though, was the Davis Mills two-piece. We'll give Davis Mills the player of the game. We'll give him the two-piece combo, Davis Mills. 50-yard touchdown to John Metchie, 50-yard touchdown to Xavier Hutchinson. He returns. And I'll say this, it would be idiotic to trade Davis Mills at this point. He is the superior backup quarterback, and that could be the case for a while. He could end up being your backup quarterback for a long, long time. So the play of the game, or play of practice, I should say, is a two-piece combo of Davis Mills 50-yard bombs, one to Hutch, one to Metch. Worst play, whoever the hell was blocking Khalil Davis gets the worst play. I don't know who it was, but you would have gotten Joe Mixon killed in a game. And maybe he knew what was coming. Maybe it's just kind of one of those things. I wouldn't judge it too much, but Khalil Davis just completely swarmed in there, jumped on his back, and did his thing. How much is a joint practice? It's free. I think you had to have get it. They signed another fullback today. That dude ain't making no team. He was actually wearing number 83, if that tells you what they think of him. Or he had a number in the 80s. I'm telling you, British Brooks was playing fullback. That's not normal. He was playing some fullback. Now that could be a disaster because I don't think that's something you just start doing. But if they're gonna have a fullback, I would think it would be Andrew Beck, or they'll have a tight end go back there and do it. But you had British Brooks doing his thing. Jimmy Ward, he always likes to practice, and he likes to practice really, really hard, and he likes to practice really intense. That was a topic of conversation when he met with the media. Let's hear what Jimmy Ward had to say, including a question from me. I just asked him, you're kind of wired up. Do you feel like you kind of get even more wired up when you're going to joint practices? Here is Jimmy Ward talking about that.
I can barely stand up. How y'all doing today?
Jimmy, to know that you're going to be here for another year, to have that extension, what did that mean to you that the organization wanted to do that before the season started?
Oh, man, I'm excited about it. That's the smile I try to give y'all. But, man, it means everything. I get to stay in this great city. I love the state, and they're all about football. I get to be with Miko and my teammates and my peers, so one more extra year. So, I'm really grateful for that.
You've had joint practices here on this field before, both with this team and against this team. Is there a mindset or intensity you have to recognize going into that to do what you need to do, but not things you don't need to do?
I see where you're getting at. No, just, attack the day, just like every other camp day, and try to go out there and get better. And just, try to keep it clean and just, be on my assignment and make sure I be on my details as well.
What's it been like working with Jalen kind of in a new spot, mixing in Kalen, working with Eric, the safety group on the field?
Oh, man, it's great. All those guys make plays. You see some of those guys making plays today. So, just that whole trio and just the combination with all the corners that we got that can go out there and play good ball. I feel like we're going to have a really great group this year.
Jalen told us last week that Kalen has been very instrumental in being more vocal in the safety position room.
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen from him? And as his veteran, because he calls you his vet all the time, how have you been instrumental in helping him to transition into the NFL?
We've really been helping each other. You never can stop learning in this league. But just if you ask me questions, I tell him how I play it and how I see it. And same thing with him. He'll tell me certain stuff that how he plays and how he see it. And then I feel like that helps everybody.
Has he been a different player?
I love me some Jimmy Ward, by the way. I just love Jimmy Ward.
The first day he got on the field over the summer to today.
Yes, he's a pretty big safety. Like 6'2", 6'3", and then he has a lot of range too, so pretty fast. So just like how he sees the quarterback and sees the quarterback steps back there, like I feel like it's dynamic and it's elite.
There's a play today where Nico came around the end and you all had a small collision. How do you find that balance in between not being as physical as you want to be and knowing that you have to lay off just a little bit?
I gotta find that balance still. I felt like I did a decent job, but it's too close to the season, so I gotta find ways to work my technique without the coaches know what I can do. So, but I'd rather them turn me down than turn me up, if you know what I mean.
You have a reputation practicing pretty hard.
It's me right
here.
here.
A little extra juice when it's joint practice.
I just attack the day just like I attack the day when I'm out here with my other teammates, but. I'm gonna try to keep it clean, but I still want to go out there and have a great day, and I want to just do what my coaches want me to do and play. Obviously, my style is physicality, but I don't. It's hard to answer that question, man. I'm gonna just try to keep it clean. I'm gonna just keep saying that.
Joint practices that you feel like gets people hated a little bit. I know you were known for a little infamous incident before you were here. What is it that you think gets things heated up?
I really just feel like it's two styles of play because their coach, they may practice one way and another team may practice another way, and on top of it's hot out here, some guys may not want to get touched, so it goes with it. It's hand in hand. They're not used to us, we're not used to them, so one person can get mad and the other person not going to back down, and that's when you see the fights and stuff happening.
You guys are only out there.
You establish yourself in that position. Going back, I'm just sort of curious, looking at some older guys that you sort of broke in the league, that you sort of have emulated and you just sort of have molded to. Now guys are starting to emulate you. Who might have been some of those guys that you probably when you first came in here that you were looking at?
One person who I looked at a lot and I learned a lot from is Richard Sherman. Just like how he attacked the game, how he saw the game, and then he ran his defense. So I feel like I learned a lot from him.
You were only out there for a quarter. I don't know if there's any other part of the game. Did you notice anything with the sun coming into the stadium during the game? Is that at all a factor?
Oh, yeah, I saw it. Oh, those two sides. So if it rains, it's just going to rain right there. It's interesting. But I don't know. It may play out to our advantage.
You think that's going to impact things? Did you notice anything?
I have no clue, but obviously we'll see this year.
Is it hard for you to kind of, you started off, you had a nice hit, then you were over there on the incompletion. Is it hard for you to go back to the sidelines after that? It just shut it down?
Yeah, because you want to go out there and continue to play and just, try to knock the rust off. But at the same time, I'm happy that I was able to, finish my plays and be healthy and for the next game or for the next practice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, there you go. See Jimmy Ward, man. Big Jimmy guy here. Like me some Jimmy. Rick says he's getting excited about this year. These guys exude confidence. They really do. They really, really do. There's a lot of confident guys on the squad. There's a lot of really confident guys. Joe Mixon's one of them too. We'll hear from him in the night stream. I enjoy talking to Joe Mixon. He seems like he's kind of foaming at the mouth. He was ready to get back out there. I think he's probably got a little more of a chip on his shoulder with the Cincinnati thing. Then he's probably wanting to admit. This was the Jimmy Ward, Nuke Hopkins from back in the day. This is a little joint practice Jimmy Ward stuff right here. This is a throwback right here. Look at Jimmy. Look how skinny Jimmy is. Look at Nuke. You know he's intense. We got okay. Oh, knocked his helmet off. Oh, come on. Oh man, Jimmy's not messing around. Damn, Nuke. Don't punch someone with your helmet off. That's one of the first lessons. That's Pee Wee 101. Nuke should know better than that. Maybe we'll get some of that tomorrow against the Rams. Who knows? This has been another practice report, though. Live stream tonight, 10:30. Be there, be square. Breaking news videos throughout. And when the season starts, there's going to be even more of that. We got some good stuff coming down. I appreciate everyone for rolling through. Fun times ahead. Fun time covering this team. Again, the biggest takeaway is just to reset them. British Brooks, fullback, playing a little bit of it. John Metchie, more special teams. Xavier Hutchinson, not going to make it easy. Davis Mills looked really good. Kendrick Green nicked up. Who knows how that impacts him? And oh my gosh, the Rams are coming to town. Appreciate you for coming through. Always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together.
Digital on YouTube, we got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways, if it's up, then it's up, we number one, you don't need to try your luck, Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room, Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do, localize, every angle's what we really do, we